I'm opening up the meeting. Go ahead, Jewel.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, board, staff, and members of the public. After my statement, the chairman will open this meeting and explain the rules for the electronic meeting. Please keep your microphone on mute when you are not speaking. The technical support team may proactively mute participants if the microphone is picking up background noise. Board members should check to make sure the microphone is not muted before speaking. You may text me at 540-336-3948 at any time during the meeting if you need technical support, and an IT tech will call your cell phone to assist. I now turn the meeting over to Board Chairman Kobliss.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to officially open the meeting. Jonathan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Due to the local state of emergency for the COVID-19 pandemic, the Loudon Water Board is meeting today by electronic means pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2 3708.2A3. Public notice and meeting access information was provided on the Loudon Water website, and a recording of the meeting will be available on the Loudon Water website sometime in the next few days. Mr. Chairman, back to you.
Thank you, Jonathan. During presentation, staff will pause for questions and discussion. There will be an opportunity for discussion after each presentation, and we will also monitor and recognize the hand raise feature. For each action item, a roll call voice vote will be taken by the board secretary. Opportunity for public comment was provided within the meeting notice. Any written comments were provided to the board secretary and will be read during the public speaker's agenda item. Now I officially open the meeting, and Jewel, if you could take an attendance.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Allen?
Here.
Mr. Bonfils?
Here.
Mr. Byers?
Here.
Mr. Campbell?
Here.
Mr. Kelly?
Here.
Mr. Kobliss?
Here.
Mr. Moody?
Here.
Ms. Sursakar?
Here.
And Mr. Sultan?
Here.
All present. Thank you, sir.
Okay, great. If I could have a motion to approve the previous minutes.
So moved. This is Marty.
Second, this is Bill.
Without any further questions, another call, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Bonfils?
Yes.
Mr. Byers?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly? Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry. Ms. Sursakar?
Yes.
Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Mr. Sultan?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
And Mr. Kobliss?
Yes. Okay.
Unanimous.
Yes, thanks, Jules. Sorry to cut you off. Board member comments. Terry, why don't you go first?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Want to congratulate Angeline on her promotion. That's great news. It's always good to hear people advancing. I'd like to say happy Veterans Day for everybody tomorrow. It's nice that Loudon Water people have a day off. And also happy Thanksgiving, upcoming Thanksgiving. We won't meet again till after that, so I wanted to hope everyone has a safe and pleasant holiday. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Moody?
Yes, I'd like to congratulate Angeline. And Angeline, I'd love to sit down and hear more about what you do in cyber. I didn't realize that was your field, so really happy to hear about that. So definitely would love to chat with you sometime further about that. And once again, Veterans Day, my father who passed away was a veteran, so that was a couple years ago, so that really is dear to me, Veterans Day. So I want to say happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there.
Bill? Mr. Byers?
Yeah, congrats to Angeline. Happy holidays to all. That's all I've got, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Kelly? I think Mr. Kelly's internet is a little slow out there in
These
Lovettsville.
bankers, they are not good at
You
technology.
gotta spend the money for the extra bandwidth there, Sean. All right, well, let's try Mr. Bonfellows. I'm sure Sean will be back.
Yeah, well, we have to build some more towers out on the west. So those monopoles, so we can have more communications. But yes, I'd like to congratulate Angeline on her promotion. Thanksgiving's coming. That's going to be really good. A really fun holiday, I think. Next week, I'm going out to my first big show in person live in St. Louis called Supercomputing. Supercomputing 21. I'm anxious to see how many people show up at the show. It used to be a really packed show, so I'll let everybody know. And tomorrow is a special. Tomorrow the 11th is a special day. It's Veterans Day. Both my father and my wife's father were decorated World War II veterans, and we always keep that day special. So, and I'm happy that Loud and Wander does too. Thank you.
All right, Brent.
I'm back.
Okay. Let's go with Mr. Kelly then.
Sorry about that. I just switched over to my MiFi, so I got off the DSL. It seems to be working. But you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations, Angeline. That's great news. Good to hear. As Terry said, good to see you advancing in your career. First, happy 246th birthday to the U.S. Marine Corps. My uncle was the 28th Commandant of the Marine Corps, fought in Vietnam, Silver Star winner. Father was a veteran of the Navy, and my grandfather was a veteran of World War I and World War II. So we get pass it along to our family. So happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans and their families who also sacrificed as well. And happy Thanksgiving to each of you and the staff at Loud and Water. A safe, happy, and enjoyable holiday. I hope you get to spend some time with family and friends. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Brent, go ahead.
Thank you. Congratulations, Angeline, and happy Veterans Day to everyone, and happy Thanksgiving.
Marty?
Congratulations to Angeline. I think it's very, very good to see people moving ahead, especially women making a name for themselves. And a happy Thanksgiving and a happy Veterans Day to everybody. I hope everybody enjoys it. That's all I have.
All right, Angeline, you're up. You're muted.
Sorry about that. I just want to begin by, first of all, thanking all my male colleague board members on the board for congratulating me. It means a lot to me. And as what Marty said, it means a lot to me and to women advancing in the field where it's still cybersecurity is still a very male dominated field. So when we take on roles like this, there's a lot on our shoulders, and we make room for other women and girls to go into the field. With that being said, I want to take a moment to thank all our veterans, men and women who have served our country and sacrificed for our freedom and where we are. Without your sacrifice, without your support and the support of the families, of veteran families, their spouses, we would not be here where we are today. So I want to thank each and every veteran, men and women out there who have served us very bravely. And I also want to take an opportunity to also thank our Land and Water staff and all the people who support us that we don't get to see, all our Land and Water staff that we don't get to see every day, but who are at the back end and doing what is possible. We may be making the decisions on the board, but they are the one who's executing those decisions. And in the end, I want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. Stay healthy and stay safe. Thank you.
Thanks, Angeline. I believe I'm next. I think I got all the board members, but so of course I want to echo everybody's thoughts. I think for me to add would be redundant. Everybody else was very clear and very proud of everything. I also want to congratulate Angeline for her new book. It's a very passionate book. I read it on Saturday. It was great. It was easy read, and I could tell her passion in the book for sure. So just a couple of items here. Just a suggestion, since I have 9 grandkids and 3 kids, you might want to start looking to buy your gifts now, because the gifts that you want in about a month are going to be gone. I'm already starting to see things that my kids are asking for, like, yeah, there's no way. It's like the Cabbage Patch Kids, if you guys remember that far back. I want to congratulate Tom on another great safety report. I know it's a minor report, but I think it's so important for the quality of Loudon water. It's just amazing. Reminder that we have the public meeting coming up for the rates, and I'm not sure which day it is. I don't have it, but just a reminder that board members usually attend. I wasn't a great attendance person, but I will be on this one for sure. And just to be there, it's not like we need to comment or anything. We usually leave that to the Loudon staff. We also have a very important meeting on November 17th. It's the joint CIP and finance meeting. I encourage everybody, because we talk about the new CIP plan and new budget and all that. Now, just for everybody to know, and I'm not going to single anybody out, but all of Loudon Water has completed the cybersecurity tests except for 5 of the board members. So you board members that haven't done the cybersecurity tests, let's get on it. The entire 400 people of Loudon Water have completed it, and only us 5 board, no, not us. I've done it, so I wouldn't be bringing it up. And then one last thing, we had a long meeting last month. I certainly got cranky because I was hungry. And but just a reminder that the details of our board meetings are in the committee meetings, and so we kind of try to just want to do a summary during our main monthly board meeting. I encourage you to attend the committee meetings. I know they're, if you're not on the committee, it's not always easy to show up. But if you could read the comments, and if you have any detailed questions, go ahead and ask the DGMs beforehand, and they can go through it so that they don't need to explain it to everybody else that already knows about it. So anyway, just a suggestion. I think that's it. And let's see. General Manager's report, Carla.
Thank you. First and foremost, I want to recognize those employees of Loudon Water that are veterans. We did celebrate them this morning with a drive-through breakfast. And, hats off to them, and thank them for their service both to our country and to Loudon Water. The first Water Safety Day was held at Beaver Dam Reservoir on October 30th. And that event was held to create awareness about the importance of wearing life vests and to encourage safe boating habits on the water. This effort was led by Nova Parks with engagement from Loudon Water, of course. There was not a lot of in-person participation. It wasn't such a great weather day to be out, but many residents engaged virtually through various Facebook Live events that were coordinated by Nova Parks. And again, this effort really highlights Nova Parks' continued focus on safety at the reservoir. The next Water Safety Day will take place in May of next year. And I just wanted to personally thank Sue Crosby and Erica Cuevas, who continue to work with Nova Parks in their safety campaigns and for their participation in this particular event. As I have previously mentioned in updates, Loudon Water was awarded over $534,000 through the COVID-19 Municipal Utility Relief Program to assist both residential and commercial customers who were experiencing hardships during the pandemic. The assistance through that program ended November 1st. We applied funds to 920 applications, and I'm happy to report that all of that money went to our customers, and there were no funds remaining on November 1st that had to be returned to the state. I also mentioned in my last update that there is now a new utility relief program that is being funded through the state and local fiscal recovery fund of the American Rescue Plan Act. And this fund focuses strictly on residential customers. And I am happy to report that Loudon Water has been awarded over $1.2 million through this program. And those funds will be applied to our customers who have past due accounts past 60 days as of a certain date. So we have to have the money awarded through the county. So we're working with them on the process for that, same as it was with the first program. But we continue to help our customers who are really feeling the pinch from this pandemic. Loudon Water once again participated in the Loudoun County School Business Partnerships Job for a Day program on November 9th. This is a program for career exploration activities, and it really provides the students an opportunity to interact with individuals and learn about their workplace, performance, and tasks necessary in a particular career cluster, field, or job. This year, Loudon Water hosted 8 students for the virtual event. And I wanted to thank Darren Gelder, JJ Cornett, Erica Cuevas, and our Broad Run Lab staff, who all shared their expertise with these students this year. As Mr. Kobelis mentioned, there is a virtual joint CIP and Finance Committee meeting on Wednesday, November 17th at 8 a.m., with the primary focus being the 2022 capital spending plan and the 10-year capital improvements program. There will also be the virtual public hearing on Thursday, November 18th at 6 p.m. to present all the rate changes that were presented through the resolution of intent that you adopted at your last meeting. And finally, we added 182 ERCs for November, bringing our year-to-date total to 2,290. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Carla. Jewel, are there any members of the public that would like to talk?
No, sir, we do not have any members that signed up. Thank you.
Okay. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda for today?
Yeah, this is Keith.
So moved,
Jim, so moved.
I heard Keith first. Anybody second?
I'll second.
Sean, second.
We should, well, before I say any discussion, if not, go ahead, Jewel.
Yes, sir. Mr. Bonfils?
Yes.
Mr. Byers?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Ms. Sursakar?
Yes.
Mr. Sultan?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
And Mr. Kobelis?
Yes. You know what
Unanimous.
we could do?
Thank you.
We could have like Marty Sultan Day and Terry Allen Day 1 month,
Yes.
and then and then Bill Byers and Keith Moody, and then just switch off every month. Okay, it sounds like I'm hearing some backfeed from somebody. There we go. Marty, if you want to talk about the CFP committee.
Before I do that, I just want to mention something about, we had a close friend who was stationed in Afghanistan, and he really appreciated the letters that I sent periodically. So if you are in the same situation, these guys really appreciate a letter from home. My letters were not anything substantial, just a lot of BS and a lot of, local gossip. So I just wanted to mention that if you happen to have anybody that's in that situation. Okay, the first item is the Route 50 600 zone connection. And in light of Mr. Kobelis's remarks, I'll try to make this short and not read every word of it. The 600 water pressure zone residential area needs new transmission mains in the Lena area to satisfy increasing demands. The project includes design of 3,400 linear feet of 16-inch to 24-inch mains in the Lena area near the intersection of Leda Farm Lane and Route 50. I won't go into the whole scope of work, but it includes topographic survey, utility locating, development of design drawings, and typical engineering design effort for water mains. Staff has selected Dewberry, a qualified BOA consultant with significant water design and trenchless crossing design needed for this project. The design team consists of highly qualified geotech, utility locating, and corrosion control engineers. Staff negotiated a fee in the amount of $189,000 with a 5% contingency for a total budget of $200,000. The CIP committee forwarded this item to this board meeting on the consent agenda. The second item is a Lansdowne sewage pumping station reliability upgrades. Loudon Water owns and operates a developer-built pump station constructed in 2003. No significant upgrades have been made since its construction. A wide variety of improvements are needed to increase the overall performance and reliability of the pump station. A professional services task order is required to address these issues and includes such things as hydraulic modeling, surge analysis, pump system size and sewer, etc., and the preparation of bid-ready drawings and specifications. It also includes plans to maintain pump station operations during construction. Staff selected HDR to perform the work. They designed the Russell Branch sewage pumping station and performed an existing conditions analysis of the Lansdowne station. Therefore, they are quite familiar with it. The negotiated price is $311,100 with a 5% contingency for a total budget of $326,000. The CIP committee forwarded this item to the November 10 board meeting on the consent agenda. The next two items are related and deal with JLMA West. First one is a sewer to that area. The project includes the design of approximately 6,500 linear feet of 20-inch to 30-inch sanitary sewer. The scope includes all of the usual engineering effort, easement plats, detailed design drawings, construction documents, etc. Staff selected Rummel, Klepper, and Carl, which is a qualified civil BOA with required experience. Staff negotiated a design task order of $648,000 with an approximate 5% contingency. The CIP committee forwarded this item to this board meeting for a budget of $681,000 to be included on the consent agenda. This next item is the same area supply, only this time it's the water supply, and involves approximately 6,100 linear feet of 24-inch water main to the JLMA West service area. Staff selected Rummel, Klepper, and Carl for this work, as well as for a task order amount of $208,110 with a 5% contingency. The CIP committee forwarded this item in the amount of $219,000 to this board item consent agenda. And that's all we have.
Thanks, Marty. Terry, Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. We had an action item to approve the authorizing resolution for a standby bond purchase agreement. Loudon Water has about $12 million in variable rate debt. That rate is really, really low right now. So to cover the possible event where bondholders would tender their bonds, a standby purchase agreement was procured. And we've had this agreement through Bank of America for the past 2 to 3 years at 46 basis points. So we've renewed that agreement for another 3 years at 37 basis points. So we're saving a little bit of money there. It's on consent. The next item on the Finance Committee meeting was the approval of the operating budget. This is obviously without the CIP in it, and you've heard mentioned 3 times that we have a meeting next week. But really briefly, we're projecting revenues of $112 million for next year, which is about 5% over last year's adopted budget, and expenses of about $80 million, which is about 4% over last year's adopted budget. This proposed budget will allow the water to remain in full compliance with all the covenants of the Revenue Bond Master Indenture Trust. So that's important. And then the capital portion, which I mentioned, will be next week. Information items at our meeting were just a monthly review. Our revenues, obviously, you've heard this before, they're above year-to-date forecast, both from an operating and a non-operating standpoint, and our expenses are down. Carla briefly alluded to the ERC, so I won't get into that. And as the end of September, we had cash equivalents and investments of $254 million with a weighted average yield of 0.71 or 71 basis points, which I think is actually up 3 or 4 basis points from the previous month. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Terry. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda or the consent items? Everybody's on mute.
So moved. So moved,
Okay.
Terry.
Terry, okay.
I'll second. This is Bill.
All right. Without any discussion, go ahead, Jewel, for a roll call.
Yes, sir. Mr. Byers?
Yes.
Mr. Bonfils?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Ms. Sursakar?
Yes.
Mr. Sultan?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
And Mr. Koblis?
Yes.
Unanimous. Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks. Just to be clear to everybody, the object of my discussion was not to try to make a record of the shortest meeting either. There was just the extraneous details that we went into. Please take your time. It's not what I was trying to say. Okay, looks like no action agenda, nothing on the action agenda, no new business unless there's something that somebody wants to say. No informational items. The monthly reports. Anything to add, Brian?
No, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't know. So we added these ERC. So what's our total for the year then?
Through the end of September, it was a little over 2,000. We just updated through the end of October, and it's a little over 2,200. So we did pass our original budget projection for the year.
Okay.
Yep.
And then usually you said in December, a lot of the companies will want to do them real quick to get the good price.
Over the last few years, now that we've gotten on a January 1 rate schedule for availability charge increases, we've seen higher payments in December.
Okay, great. Thanks, Brian. Any
You're
questions for Brian? Okay, I have a question on the water resource management. Jessica, are you on or are you presenting?
I'm here. Yep.
Okay, great. So obviously, if everybody remembers Patty Sarah, she used to go crazy when she would see a red button on there. So if you could explain the red button on there today.
That on this, is that on the water quality?
Yeah, Mr. Koblis, that may actually be the O&M quarterly report.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Well, I do have a question on this. If you can go to the last slide. Okay. I noticed that you wrote down number 9, which I can't see. There it is. Nope. There it is. So the monitoring wells, the ones we don't really trust or really believe because they're only 3 feet deep, you've now added a statement in here that we're trending seasonally normal, and this is based on our wells. Is this how you're going to report this each month? You're just going to have a note here and that's it?
In the interim, we've been working to take and evaluate, as we mentioned before, to evaluate the data from the groundwater wells, and it's a lot of data, so we're still trying to put it in a digestible form. Okay. So it's taking us some time to do that. So in the interim, we felt like the statement kind of covered what you were looking for in the interim.
Okay, great, thanks. Anybody else have any questions or comments on this report? Okay, great. Hui, I'm sure there isn't any questions on this water and sewer agreements, but because Hobie's not here anymore. But I don't know, he always had a question on one of them for some reason. Anybody else have a question? Okay. Now we'll go to the quarterly reports. Tom, I guess you're first. Mr. Lipinski.
Yes, if there's any questions on that, I'd be happy to take them.
Okay. I don't think I have any questions. Anybody have any questions? Don't be afraid to ask questions now, just because I said we went too long last time. It's funny that my grandson ordered this huge crab plate, 3 clusters of crabs, and it was like $40. Started eating, got about halfway through the first cluster, and he's like, "Oh, I'm full." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? We just spent." So now the point of the story is he's afraid to say anything. He's afraid to ask for anything so he orders soup. And I'm like, "Come on, Liam. It was just a one time." Anyway, go ahead with the capital construction report. I know everybody likes to see this. So Brian, go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. I'm here to present the third quarter capital construction report. I think I've got control. Okay. And in this report, I'll be discussing the 3 projects listed: the Goose Creek Waterline project, Howardsville wastewater collection system, our Broad Run expansion, and then at the end of the report, I'll cover some quarterly numbers for the current projects and all of the completed projects from the quarter. Again, our Goose Creek Waterline crossing project allows us to deliver water from the Goose Creek Reservoir to Trap Rock. Our contractor is Garney. The contract value is $4.5 million, and through the period, the third quarter, we completed $3.7 million worth of work. The status is all of the piping is complete across the reservoir and connected at the north at the raw water transmission main. The southern connection should be completed very soon. And the contractor is performing miscellaneous work at the Trap Rock site. These are just 2 photos of some of the work at the Trap Rock site next to Goose Creek, where the contractor is constructing a boat ramp to allow us to get boats down into Goose Creek. These are precast segments that are placed by an excavator. And if I'm going too fast, please slow me down. If you have any questions, please let me know as well. Just a couple of photos here of the connection on the south end on the Goose Creek water treatment plant side. It's just one of the manholes that was set, and the one in the center shows the flow meter that is being installed there so that we can actually measure the water from the Goose Creek that is going to Trap Rock. The Howardsville wastewater collection system, this allows us to provide sewer service to the community. This is a county-funded project, so we are reimbursed for this project. Our contractor is Sagres Construction. The work completed through the period is $521,000 out of a $947,000 contract. All of the low-pressure sewer has been installed complete. That is shown in red on the little diagram on the right, little plan on the right. The contractor is constructing the lateral connections, and I'm told that now that all of those lateral connections have been completed as well, and the grinder pump cans have been set. Those are all set in place now too. And the pump and haul tank has already been set as well. So a lot of the work has been done out at this site. The Broad Run expansion is from 10 to 15 million gallons per day. Corman Kokosing is our contractor. We should be completed with the project final completion in August of 2024. 28% of the contract time has elapsed. The value of work completed through the period is at 32%. And the change order total, which we'll talk a little bit more about that through September, is $880,000. And I have a key performance index there as well that's 1.03. It's our schedule performance index, and we try to maintain that above 1. So we feel pretty good about that as well. That's the earned value divided by planned value. Okay, change order 4 includes new membranes, and I'm going to turn this part over to Kendra Zviam. Kendra?
Hi, we just wanted to take a minute to talk about this change order in specific because it's one of the bigger change orders on the job to date, but it is definitely a benefit added. So the specific membrane technology that's going in for the 16.5 expansion is an improvement over what we have, but we had to select that manufacturer back in 2018 so that we knew exactly what equipment we were designing around and could proceed with the construction drawings. But earlier this year, Suez came to us and we had that provision in our agreement that if they had any new technology between now and then that we get the chance to upgrade so that we knew when we put in, we're getting state of the art. And Suez has had a really key improvement in the membrane design, which is actually unusual for them. And so each of these membranes that you see in the picture, that's a cassette, but each white strip is a long tube. And what they've done is change the diameter of that tube. So it's going from 1.9 millimeter to 2.2, which is allowing us in the same cassette to get more membrane surface area. And this is really key in not only capacity, but it increases that membrane by 18%. So we had designed the capacity of the membranes prior to this upgrade to match our pumping and flow through. So the membranes we put in will be a little more than we can actually pump through the system. But now that we know we have another expansion coming on the end of this, we can definitely come back after the fact and take advantage of that additional surface area. But even in the meantime, increasing the surface area reduces the stress on the membranes, extends their life, and reduces the head loss. So we get energy savings in the meantime. So it made a lot of sense to go ahead and pay a little adder to get to some additional capacity. The other item with this upgrade is they are going to discontinue making the smaller diameter because it really doesn't make sense to go with that anymore if you have the ability to get the additional square footage. So we wanted to go with the product that they're going to continue offering in the long run. So it was a big benefit for the plant to go ahead and move forward with this one.
Okay. Thank you, Kendra. Any questions? Okay. This is just a plan of the entire site. We have the contractor working in 8 separate work areas at the site, all being performed concurrently and all requiring a great deal of coordination with our operations staff. I thought I'd like to show you some of the highlights and some of the before and after photos from the site. The photo on the left is the area of the equalization tank taken in March of 2021. And the photo on the right is the equalization tank as it existed in September, including the dome that was completed over the top during that time. This equalization tank is a pre-stress tank. I thought it'd be neat to kind of talk a little bit about some of the stresses that the tank is placed under. As part of the construction, the tank is actually wrapped with a tensile tendons that are pulled to provide a tensile force against that tank to instead of reinforcing it, we are using a pre-stressed concrete construction here.
Mr. Kobus has a question, Brian.
Mr. Kobus?
Hey, Brian, 2 slides back.
Okay. Okay.
What is the ISPS dump pad? What does that mean?
I'll turn that to Kendra. That's the influent sewage pump station. There's a temporary pad that they have, or it's a pad that they have there for dumping materials in the short term. Go ahead, Kendra.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. So the influent pump station just is the first place where we pump the raw sewage into the plant, but we have built a dump pad. This is really just for Loudon water use. So when we go vac out a pump station in the collection system and it's just got rocks, but it's still considered raw sewage, we can discharge those vac trucks there, collect the rocks on the pad, and have the sewage go into our pump station. So it gets screened and goes through all the additional process. Previously, we didn't have a great place for that to go. And it would just end up, there was another pad over by the digesters, but it would clog up the sewer and not go anywhere. So it's tough material to handle. So it was real nice to put it right next to the pump station there.
Okay, thanks. I just curious.
Sure. Okay, so again, the equalization tank is wrapped with a pre-stressing tendon. And that tendon, the total wrapping there is 257 miles of tendon. This is, I want to show you what the rendering from our model looked like, and then also a construction photo as well. So we've got prior to construction again, and then the model from our rendering, from our 3D model, and then under construction. So you'd see what the plan looked like, and then what it actually looks like now. And again, this one is also a photo from prior to construction, and then the model, the rendering from the 3D model that Hazen prepared, and then the photo showing it under construction now. This is our primary clarifier. Okay, we talked a lot about risk when we presented this project about a year and a half ago. So I thought it'd be good to update you on some of the risks that we're seeing and how we're mitigating those risks. I won't read all this to you, but I wanted to give you an idea of just that we're on top of this and that we're working through some problems there. Any questions? I can give you more time on this. Okay, and then I've got another page of risk here, risk 4 and 5. Got risk for compensation for additional costs from, we have had some unforeseen conditions and differing site conditions that we've had to work through on the project, which is pretty common. Any questions? Okay, so the key takeaways, the communications between the parties, it's been good. I've been real pleased with that. We're working through all the processes in the contract documents, including the RFIs, shop drawings, and all the notices. Those have all been in place, and we're working through those really well. Coordination with the plant has been superb. We continue to meet our permit, and our plant is engaged, and they're understanding the work as it's being performed along the way. So I'm real pleased with the coordination that we've been able to provide through the Loudon Water staff at the site, Hazen, and then our operations staff as well. Construction quality has been good. Where we have had issues with quality, the contractors addressed those promptly. At the present time, we are projecting a timely completion of the contract. We've executed 5 change orders through the period, so the change orders are up a little bit. But as Kendra told you, one of those change orders is a pretty large one. It makes up about half of the change order total that we've seen so far, and that truly is a betterment to the project. These are the numbers for our existing construction projects. And at present, the change order value is about 1.3% of the original contract value. 2 of the projects are substantially complete, and we're just waiting for the contract to complete the punch list items. Any questions? And then during the third quarter, we completed 3 projects as well, including final completion on the BRWRF 5 Horsepen Sewer project, which is the largest non-plant project we've ever done at Loudon, at just under $29 million.
Terry's got a question.
Go ahead, Terry. Mr. Allen.
Hey, Brian. With all the, you read the paper every day, and all you hear about is supply chain constraints, material shortages. Are we experiencing that on the construction side?
We are hearing more about that on the construction side, and I'm trying to, I'm trying to sort through some of that because I have seen a couple of claims recently about supply chain issues. But in some cases, these materials may not have been ordered promptly after they were approved. And so I'm trying to sort through it. Is this truly a supply chain, or is this something that the contractor is using or trying to leverage? So I am hearing more about it, but I'm trying to sort through it at the sites. We're not seeing it for building materials such as concrete and stone and those sorts of things, but I'm hearing about it more with materials that might be shipped to the site, such as pipe and equipment that comes from overseas.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
Yeah, Brian, congratulations on the Rippey Phase 5 horse pen sewer. That is a really big job, and I know you were instrumental on that project, and I just want to say congratulations.
Thank you. Good. Thank you.
You're muted, Mark.
What a rookie. Golly. Land development by Hue. Any questions on his report? Okay, Alton, this is the operation and maintenance. This is the one that I had the red dot on it, right?
Yes, that's correct. So that was a couple of violations that were at the Goose Creek Industrial Park wastewater treatment plant, which, as I believe the board is aware, is part of the capital project to replace that plant and connect it to the central system, which is, I believe, transitioning from design to construction next year. And these violations really just speak to the age of that facility and sort of the unpredictability of the treatment technology there.
So the bottom line is there's nothing we could have done to stop these violations?
No, we're just continuing to try to get our arms around them from the operator perspective and try our best to predict what's going on there and to kind of see it through to the end. Just have a couple more years here.
And in no way do they endanger the community, correct?
That's correct. We do everything we can to bring it into alignment with the permit as quickly as we can.
Okay. Any other questions on the maintenance report? All right. As you can see on the safety report, it's perfect, except for one incident in April, and it seems to me like it's a minor incident, but I didn't really get the metal shaving in my hand, so I'm sure it hurt like heck. But anyway, congratulations again to everybody. Any questions on the safety report? All right, do we have a closed meeting? Anybody?
No, sir.
All right, well, whose turn is it to motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn. This is Marty.
All right, and a second?
Second, Sean.
All right, and let's go with the roll call then. You're muted, Jewel.
Now it's my turn to make the rookie mistake. Mr. Bonfils?
Yes.
Mr. Byers?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Ms. Sursakar?
Yes.
Mr. Sultan?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
And Mr. Koblis?
Yes.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned at 4:19 p.m.
All right, everybody take care.
All right.
Happy holiday.